The Big Al Podcast with your host, Al Bishop, unfiltered and uncut.
No problem, bro. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Yeah, life's moving forward now the show started. So life was on hold a bit, from exiting the house to actually beginning on the show. The show airing was crazy, like 7 weeks, I think. So it was like 7 weeks of silence and not doing anything. So it was crazy.
How hard is it to sit on all of that information, not telling anybody what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's a bit easier because being in Spain, I mean, I don't have the following here is good, but it's not like as big as it would be in the US or the UK,
Okay.
So it's pretty easy. I mean, my close friends, I've got some friends that I've told, but there's not many people here to tell, so it's quite good. I've got my girlfriend's family that all live here.
Sure.
A couple of them know, but nothing more than they need to. Just so they can get the feel for the show and enjoy it more.
100%. So, Jay, the last time we saw you obviously was in the EFC. You fought Wesley Hawkey. I just wanted to just touch base on that quickly. What was your whole experience with South Africa and the EFC? And just talk us through your fight with Wesley Hawkey.
I mean, EFC was, it probably still will be one of my best experiences MMA traveling wise. I got into the sport to travel and enjoy all the kind of luxuries of that in the sport. So just fighting locally or in the UK or in Europe, it's okay, but the whole aim was to travel the world and experience something. So going to EFC was amazing. The team there, Graham and Cairo, I believe it's Cairo. No,
yes.
Is that right, Cairo? Yeah, Graham and Cairo are like such cool guys. Their number one priority is the fighters. And I gathered that as soon as I got there. I was welcomed. I was driven everywhere. I was chauffeured. I was literally looked after like a god. It was, I couldn't complain. So for the first time experiencing it, it was an amazing feeling. And hotels, food, you name it, it was there. Whatever you needed, they looked after you. And the setup on the show was amazing. I've been to a few UFC shows and stuff like that. It's not far off it. I think they really try and follow that pattern of the UFC, but have their own little spin-off on it, and then it's a nice touch, and all the lights and the cameras, and they're so enthusiastic. South Africans love it, didn't you? You're very enthusiastic people, so I had a great time. I had a really good time, and the people are really welcoming and humble. So, you guys, you love your meat, and the meat there is so cheap. You mean crazy, T-bone steak for I think I worked it out. It was something like 80 rand. Is it rand?
Yeah, rand. Yeah.
Is it rand? Yeah, 80 rand. I think it was something like £12 or something like that. A T-bone steak in the UK, you're looking at like £80. It's like 300. It's crazy money,
Yeah, sure.
So all this, that was an experience, So and luckily I'm quite a small featherweight, so I managed to eat a bit through that week, so it was good.
Fantastic, man. What I really wanted to ask you also about that fight is there's obviously the famous photo of your celebration doing the rounds, did the rounds afterwards, and probably still going for a little while. It's one of those crazy photos where it's capturing so much. There was a lot of emotion pouring out of you, quite obviously. Just talk us through what that was all about. There was obviously quite a lot of emotion there. If you could just tell us about that.
I mean, I think it dated back, I think a couple of years ago now. It was on my fifth pro fight, day before the weigh-ins, and my little brother calls me, and my older brother had passed away, literally that morning. So it was quite a devastating blow. I didn't have, a very tight relationship with my brother as the years went on. We had a few complications with family and stuff, like you do, and we kind of grow apart, but we got back together a bit and stuff, and we managed to smooth things over. But as a young child, I had great memories of him. He was a hero to me, and our older brothers are. So it was a devastating time for me, and I managed to pull myself together and just he was coming to the fight as well the next day. So, guy that was running the show was my longtime friend and my first ever MMA coach, Chris Ellerton. It was his show, so local show and that. And I told him, and he was, super supportive. And he said, look, you do what you got to do, and automatically I was fight. I wanted to fight. I can't. Things like this happen in life, don't they? You get these shit things that happen, but you can't just go, what am I going to do? I'm going to go and sit at home and mope and feel sorry for myself. It's not me. It's not me. So I got in there, I got the fight done, and I won. So there was a lot of emotions there. And then after that, I kind of like started dying out from the sport a bit. I started questioning myself whether I wanted to do it. And I obviously live in Spain, and I got a big opportunity to fight on the local show here called AFL. It's a big show here, and they gave me a tough opponent, a former title challenger, black belt was in jiu-jitsu, real legit guy, high up in the European ranking. So I was like, let's test myself. Let's see if I really want to do this, So I went out there, and you've probably seen the fight. I think it's the one when I knock him out, he knocks me out, and that one. So that fight kind of pushed me on again to say, no, you need to keep doing this. So I was 6-0, so I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I called out the champ on that show, featherweight champion, and that was in Gran Canaria. It was in one of the islands. And I got out there, everything, training camp went well, everything was fine. And on the Wednesday before the fight, I was out there, and my sister rang me, and she was like, you do know what Saturday is? And I was like, yeah, I'm fighting. And she was like, no. She said, no, it's the 1-year anniversary of my brother's death.
Sure. And
it fell on the title shot, on that title shot. So I was like, fuck, and I didn't even realise it. Time had gone so quick, So it'd been 1 year since he passed away, and 1 year since I had that fighting. I was like, fucking hell, it's crazy, So I went in there again, quite a lot of emotions, but it seemed like, I'm not a believer, of anything, but someone was testing my buttons, kind of to see how strong I actually was and how focused I could stay, So I went in there and then ended up fighting him in front of like 4,000 Spanish family, friends and stuff, and I ended up taking him out in the 4th round with a knee, and such a great feeling. And then that brings me on to EFC. I've always liked the show. I watched it many years ago on a channel in the UK, which is a small channel. It's like EX, so it's a sports channel.
Sure.
And they used to play the weekly replays, like week laters after the live show. So I always knew about it, and I remember seeing Wesley on there, Boyd Allen's and stuff like that. And I got Luke, my longtime friend, my coach, head coach at Lilius Barnet. I got him to push Graham and see if he could get me on there. But at the time, Daniel Henry was there, featherweight champ. And I think they didn't want like 2 British guys there, they didn't really want things to get too like British, you know what I mean? It's like they wanted to keep one fighter in and stuff. So Daniel Henry ended up getting signed in to the UFC. So I was like, see it on social media, and I was like, boom, that is my ticket, I'm getting in. So literally, Luke messaged Graham, and Graham was like, yeah, we love it. We love the idea of it. We'll bring him over. Threw a few names at me and stuff like that. Originally, they threw me Boyd Allen, a main event. I took it. I was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And they were like, okay. And Boyd Allen, for some reasons, had other issues that he had to deal with, so the fight wasn't made. And then they offered me Wesley Hawkey. Yeah. So I took that fight, because I knew the name anyway, and they were like, it's just a prelim fight. I was like, cool, no worries. And then I think it was like 2 weeks before the fight, they're like, yeah, you're going to be main event on the FC. I was like, that's quite a big thing, for me. It's like, I've been the main event on small shows, but EFC is a renowned show around the world, so to be a main event in that, I was absolutely blown away. So I was like, the pressure was like, wow, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to actually like fight a main event. It's like some of the guys that fight on these shows are, have got more popularity than some like little like poor guys that are in the UFC. You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's like I knew that platform that I was fighting on, so I was super happy with it. And so again, I went out to South Africa, went on my own because Luke was fighting. I had my old time coach Chris come out and meet me on the Wednesday. and it was Thursday night, I think. No, it was on the Friday, sorry. Friday weigh-ins, they went live. My sister watched them. All my girlfriend weren't there. Everyone was back here in Spain. They all watched it. And I get a phone call of my sister, and she's like, "You know what tomorrow is, didn't you?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, "I'm having a fight." And she's like, "No, it's your brother's birthday." So I was like, what is going on here? Do you know what I mean? So like, after that fight, like I went into that fight and I was like, someone is up there and they are really trying to test me. You know, they're really trying to say, you know, how much can you handle? So yeah, there was a lot of emotions going into that fight, and you know, I had a tough test ahead of me, but you know, it was kind of a make or break for me to see how far I wanted to go, and did I have what it takes, you know, to perform at that high level on a big stage. And obviously you see for yourself, you know, I certainly did. So
100%, man. And obviously you got an emphatic finish there on a big show, and to travel out to South Africa, main event against a local boy who's been around forever is no small feat, man. And it's a really massive achievement for yourself personally. And obviously moving forward, the next bit we heard from you was the Ultimate Fighter. So how did that come about? Did you actively enter, or how did that all happen?
I don't know. After that EFC, my obviously being at that platform, my kind of name just, you know, boomed. You know, went
Sure.
out the roof. Being on that platform, you know, it's a massive platform. So main event in it as well. It was a great opportunity for me, and I was truly blessed. And I think it was probably like a week later, I get an email from someone through the UFC, like early scouting department. So they email me and they're like, you know, we see you fighting EFC. Congratulations, well done. This is just an early selection process. We're just going to take your name and your details and keep you on record, and keep doing what you're doing. Stay with EFC. And a couple more fights, we'll definitely like to be seeing you signed to the UFC. So that was a nice achievement for me, and because I never chased the UFC, I've never been a chaser. I've seen too many of my friends, too many of my guys put their heart and soul into it, chase it, and lives been ruined by it. You know, so
Sure.
for me, it was just travel the world, take whatever comes at me, but just go around the countries and fight the best fighters. You know what I mean? I did it in Spain. I went to South Africa, fought a top guy, and obviously then it was going to be Cabeza, you know, that's what I wanted. And so this was my plan. I was trying to just go around, take a belt everywhere I went, or, you know, take out a top fight or something like
Sure.
that, you know. It's just to leave a legacy behind. So after that fight, the UFC obviously, you know, contacted me and had some feelers out there. And then I was at work one day, and I was thinking about a friend. I had a friend who was in hospital. I hadn't known him that long, you know. I knew him through the fighting, and he was fighting a battle of cancer, and you know, his body just weren't reacting properly, and you know, unfortunately, he passed away. So I was thinking about him that day, and you know, he always enjoyed my fights and stuff, and it was quite a sad day because the guys that I worked with knew this guy very well and stuff. So the atmosphere wasn't that great, and I get my phone out. And I look at it, and I've got like five Facebook Messenger messages, 3 WhatsApps, and it's all like the same link. All my friends and family have sent me the link of the Ultimate Fighter, Undefeated. I opened it, and you know, I've been a big fan of the Ultimate Fighter going back, you know, 9-10 years when it was very good, and you know, I kind of died off it a bit because it fizzled out a bit. You know, it was kind of not really that interesting. So my friend Luke Barnett, he was on the season with John Jones and Charles Sonnen. So when I got this, I kind of had a look through it and see what it was all about. And I messaged Luke, and he was like, "Yeah, listen, the opportunity's there if you want to go and do it, isn't it?" So I did a bit of research, and I looked into like the rankings and stuff. And in Europe, I was the number 1 unbeaten featherweight in Europe. You know, so I was like, I have got the biggest chance out of every featherweight in Europe. Sure. You know what I mean? So I was like, so that kind of really intrigued me. So I messaged the producer, and when I messaged him, he replied back to me and was like, "Hi Jay, yeah, I know you are. I see you fighting EFC." I was like, oh. So Luke obviously knows the guy really well, and messaged him as well, and was like, giving me a bit of support and stuff. So all kind of just went from there. So they knew I was coming. They knew about me. So I knew I stood a good chance. And yeah, here I am.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's very cool, man, and it's cool to hear how the EFC kind of gave you that catapult as well, which is a great thing to hear, and I'm sure a lot of fighters currently in the EFC will draw.
If it weren't for the EFC, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have got that opportunity. You know, I really wouldn't.
Sure.
So I owe them a lot. I really would.
That's fantastic, man. Obviously, we're now at episode 4, which was your episode. We got to see everything happening in the house. I think it was the episode before, in episode 3, where there was the tensions that started to boil over, and you were a little bit in the mix there. So how was that whole experience dealing with fighters like that on that level, living with people every day, and you know, training together, living together, and all of that stuff?
I mean, the level of fighters that are out there, you know, on that show, there's some very high talented guys. And there's some guys that are just in the beginning of their careers,
sure.
You know. So there was a mixed bag of ages, personalities, you know, and everything like that. So coming into the show, you know, I was prepared for there to be a lot of, you know, testosterone, a lot of rivalries and anger and whatnot. But it wasn't that bad, you know. It really wasn't that bad. You know, you think you're watching 45 minutes of what happened in a week, you know what I mean? So
sure.
There wasn't that much compared to what there was in the other seasons, you know, because a lot of other seasons have been guilty for just putting guys on there, regardless of their record, because they're a drunk or they're a nightmare. You know? So coming into this season, all guys are undefeated, and all guys had that more a lot of drive and ambition to want to do things. You know, a lot of the guys there had ambitions to be in the UFC. A lot of them there have ambitions to be the world champion in the UFC. So, you know, the rivalry between the team, it was there, but it, you know, to me, I just got on with life, and I was there for myself. You know what I mean? Sure. I was there for myself to see how far I could go and to test myself, and it was a lot of fun times in there. A lot of fun times, and unfortunately, I think they've preferred to show the little arguments, the bitching side, and they do the fun side. But yeah, there was a lot of good times in there.
Sure. And one of the biggest things I wanted to ask you, it's a bit of a, because it's close to me personally, I'm a massive fan of Stipe. What has it been like to work with guys like that, like Stipe, and having guys like DC around, and then getting one-on-one time with Stipe? What's that been like?
I mean, yeah. My confession for me is I've been a fan of this sport for years, and there was rumours going around when we got there who the coaches were going to be, and, you know, I was kind of set out on having Khabib and Tony Ferguson, you know. Yeah. Before I even flew out, I was like, wow, it's got to be them. But then obviously their date got fixed, and it didn't really fit well for the show. So I was sat there on the mats, and there was rumours going around it was going to be Daniel Cormier and Stipe, and I was like, well, I can't see it because I can't see DC fighting Kane. I watched an interview with him on the weekend of that Ultimate Fighter week, yeah. And he was like, no, I'll never fight Kane, we're brothers, and blah, 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 and all that. So when they walked through the door, I was like, okay, this makes it interesting. Maybe Stipe's going to move down to light heavyweight. That's what I thought. I thought that's quite interesting. You know, he's not a massive heavyweight. I think he could do it. I think he could make light heavyweight. But so they walked through, and it turns out DC is going to move up to heavyweight. So, but he clears it all up and says, look, you know, there is no way I'll fight Kane. If I win, I give the belt back, and I go back down to my division. So we see though, don't we? Money talks, like sure. Kane, like DC said, money talks. So as I'm stood there and the coaches walked through, Stipe, DC, I'm like, brilliant. But then, like, behind DC, towering over DC was Cain Velasquez. Yeah. Oh my God, man. I fanboyed out about this guy. This guy is like, I was like, fuck Stipe and DC. I want to see Cain. But no, I mean, to be fair, like, you had like three of the baddest, like, heavyweights in the world. So it was a great feeling, and to meet Cain was a real pleasure, you know. And to be picked to be on Stipe's team, as you see as the season unfolds and everything goes, you know, I'm truly grateful for it. I really am. You know, the sure. guy is he's a genuine guy. There's nothing fake about him. He likes to mumble, but he is he's a fun guy and he's got a heart of gold, and he was all about us. You know, it wasn't about him and his coaches. It was about us. You know, and that was the main thing for it. And you know, DC was a great guy as well. You know, they're a bit more like jokey and stuff. You know, they were a bit more clowny, but you know, there was both good banter between each teams, and we had a real good time.
Fantastic, man, fantastic. So last night, this morning, we got to see your fight, and unfortunately it didn't go your way. Bryce Mitchell won that on a decision. Do you feel anything went wrong? It just wasn't your day?
Yeah, I mean, just wasn't my day. Like you say, I mean, it's very hard going into a competition and being ready, you know, like that. And it's like mentally and physically, my body, as that show was going, was peaking. You know, I was 100%. Walking through them doors, there was not a thing wrong with me. My mental focus was there. Everything was there. But coming into the fight, we get a chance to look at the video footage of the guys we're going to fight, you know, in the locker rooms and stuff like that. But I kind of opted out from it. You know, I'd seen Bryce a bit prior to coming onto the show, and, you know, I'd flicked through all the fighters, but I kind of like left it to my coaches. They told me what I needed to do, and I knew what I had to do. So I was like, no, I'm good. I went into the fight, and I kind of like just got thrown off by the way he comes out. You know, he come out very open armed, and you know, very in and out. I imagined him a certain way. My brain kind of just like switched off, and he just took over the fight. You know, and some of the mistakes that I made was like very amateurish. You know, I did some very amateurish mistakes, giving my back like 3 or 4 times. You know, but nothing against Bryce. Bryce is like next level jiu-jitsu grappler guy. You know, he is up there, 9-0. You know, he's got a lot of finishes from that body lock, rear naked choke. He's got a great system of it, and we knew that going into the fight. We knew he had a good system, and I just time I could even blink or breathe, like the fight was over. You know, so. But one thing I learned from that fight was my focus, you know, and just to adapt to anything, you know, and I've always been quite good at it, but Bryce just did a great game plan. He mixed his strikes in well. He's very limmy, you know, he doesn't look that big, but like when you're in there with him, his range is very awkward to get around. So, but the show still goes on, and there's always twists and turns, so, you know, I'm still looking forward to the rest of the episode, you know.
Yeah, fantastic, man, and we look forward to seeing what still has to come. Obviously, we can't ask you too much beyond that episode, so we'll leave that there. What I wanted to just bring up, you've been writing a blog about your experiences in the Ultimate Fighter House. Just talk us through that and where people can find it to give a good read there.
Yeah, so while I was in the house, I'm not a writer, I'm not a reader, can't spell, you know, I can't do all of this. All I can do is fight. So my girlfriend suggested it to me, Taylor. She suggested that I write a diary or journal, however you want to call it, in the house. So I was like, it's probably not a bad idea, you know, because when you're in there, you're not like no music, no telly, no phones, no nothing.
Sure.
All they want you to do is socialise, communicate, get drunk, fight. You know, that's what they want. They want the drama. You know,
Sure.
They want the funny stuff. So I took it up literally from the day I got there to the day I entered the house to the day I left the house to the day I got home. I wrote a journal every single day, and I kind of figured out halfway through that doing a blog would be something cool. I'd like to do it, you know, and I regret it now. You know, it's not easy, but every week I've been doing a blog, and yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, you know, because it definitely, I'm kind of like reliving it again. You know, what
Sure.
happened in the house. It's like I had the 6 weeks. Now I've just had 7 weeks of nothing, and now it's like I'm reliving it again. So it's nice to go over it, look through the book, find some funny things that happened, you know, and stuff. So it's I'm glad I did it. It's not easy, you know. I don't know how you guys do it all, you know, all you podcasters or bloggers. I mean, you know, I've got a deadline to get it through and stuff, and I'm always running late, but I get it out, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope everyone else is. So you can find it on MMAJunkie.com, and they've been doing a piece, and it'll be there every week. Just type in Jay Cucciniello, and they'll all come up, all of them. From getting to know Jay Cucciniello from episode 1 through to 4. So episode 4 will be out now, and every week, every Wednesday, Thursday, they should be out. So
fantastic, man. Jay, that's all we have today, man. Thank you so much for your time. We really enjoying watching you there, man. It's nice to have a little bit of a EFC bond with you back here in South Africa. We get to follow your story. We wish you all the best, man. It's quite weird wishing you something that's already happened, and hopefully we see you in the UFC, or if not, back in the EFC, or whatever works out, man. And we'll be watching with a close eye, and we appreciate your time again, man.
Yeah, either way, like you say, I mean, I just want to say thanks to I get a lot of love from the South African supporters, I really do. Still now I do, so I'm really grateful for that, and especially for you as well for helping me out and stuff. And, all the guys at EFC, they're great guys, and, regardless of what happens, whether I'm in the UFC or I will fight in, one or the other. So I will be in the UFC, or I will be in the EFC, and that is for sure. I will definitely touch it back down in EFC. Maybe one day soon, maybe one day later. But I will, whether I'm there as a fan or whatever, I will be definitely touching back down there. Because they've got some great fighters there, and they've got some great guys out there to train with. So I will definitely be looking to come out there again. So, like you say, you will definitely be seeing me fight next, either in the UFC or in the EFC for sure. I can guarantee you that.
Fantastic, man. That's awesome. We look forward to that, man. Thanks, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. And thank you again for your time. And we'll chat to you soon, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
appreciate
brother.
it. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, man.
bro.
Cheers, bro.